Welcome to another episode of Fuck Your Job. I'm Ron Worley.
And I'm Josh Fullenweider.
Fuck your job.
Hey guys, today we are talking about book publishing, mostly because Ron's got a book that's coming out here in September, right?
Yes, that's true. I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but we have touched on how terrible it is to write a book, right? We've talked about it. But I'm going through it right now.
Yeah, you didn't start telling me about it, how awful it was, until my book was almost written.
Yes,
so,
right.
You're like, oh, the editing is awful. And I'm like, well, crap, I'm not to that part.
Right. I think the hardest part is that most authors have other jobs, other things they're doing, maybe writing other books. Mm-hmm. And so you're trying to fit all this stuff in. And the worst part is I'm not geared to sit down and just write and have correct punctuation, and just it's a lot of brain power. And when you have so much other stuff going on as an entrepreneur, you gotta, I got an hour. Well, now you're trying to do as much as you can in an hour, and the brain power, you can't really think. So you just kind of get bogged down over time. So I think it would be really a lot easier if that's all you were doing.
Yeah.
And that's not how it's going for me. And there's been some, recently, we were just talking about the book cover, and even the book cover is highly important to picking up the book and wanting to buy it, or seeing it on Amazon and wanting to buy it.
Okay. And
so the first one they sent me, the first few they sent me were all illustrated, and God, they looked really nice, and it was cool to see my name on the front of the book. And I was like, oh my gosh, those are really cool. And then my book coach, I talked to him, and he's like, these are god awful. Basically told me to scrap them all.
So where'd you get the book covers from, and where's your book coach coming from?
Okay, so yeah, let's back that up. So I'm going through a place called Book Launchers, and they're kind of an in-between place. They're not a full-fledged publisher. I am self-publishing, but I'm basically paying them to publish it for me. They do the editing, the marketing, the agenting, if that's a word.
I don't know.
So they basically are the agent. They get you speaking engagements, book signings, things like that. And then they also print the book. They get it on Amazon and Kindle, and they do all that. They even coach you on wordplay, keyword searches. They get you a website set up. They help you do your emails, your book army, your influencer list. All those things that we would have no clue to do when we're a self-publisher. Right. They do it, only I'm paying them to do it for me.
Okay. But your book coach is not through Book Launcher.
It is not. So I originally started out with Aaron Chambers, who's a really good friend of mine, and he's written several books. And so we started out just trying to get the book in a book format. What we're going to write about? What am I going to tell? How am I going to tell my story? How's my story going to help others? And once we got the book done, that's like a small part of the process. I then sent it to an editor who, Jeff and Bethany Wiley, they actually are editors, and they kind of chopped it up and had me revise, I think 3 times with them. Yeah. So by this time, it's been almost 2 years now, I think. By this time, I have a pretty good copy to take to Book Launchers, which Book Launchers, they'll take it from no writing at all and help you all the way through. But I didn't know that. I didn't find them until much later in the process. Through Aaron, he found them, and I couldn't get a publisher to bite on it or an agent to bite on the book. So we were like, let's just self-publish. And that's how I like to do things anyways, because it's an entrepreneurial way to approach it. You know, you're going to get 100% of the reward, but 100% of the work is yours.
Right.
Unfortunately, that whole book smart versus street smart thing, like I didn't know enough about it, and you can't read enough about it to actually do it well.
No.
So next best thing, hire people to do it for you.
Do it. Yeah. No, and like I said, I'm a few months behind you on my own book project, and I'm probably going to do more of it myself than Book Launchers, but I'm still hiring an editor, hiring a book somebody to design the cover, because I started digging into it, because I'm like, well, how hard can this be? And I started peeling back layers, and I was like, no.
Yeah, it's too much. It's a lot.
No.
It's a lot. So you have a designer Cool.
Actually, I'm going to use Michael Riley from the Jobless Legion.
Oh, okay.
He's going to help me with it.
Good job, Michael.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So you're basically taking on the approach of like full-fledged self-publisher.
Yeah, and I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just ebooks and probably print on demand. So I don't have to pay for
Right.
1,000 copies to be printed or whatever it is.
Right.
Up front, which would be cheaper and I would get more reward, but then I'm really only having books published as they're being ordered. So,
Right. And you have to have inventory, which is not cool.
yeah.
The only reason I'm printing books is for actual book signings and things, or when you go to speaking engagement, somebody have something to sign and give to people.
Right.
You know, I think most people just buy it on Kindle or Amazon now anyway,
Yeah.
or audiobook.
My biggest
So-
thing is I like audiobooks that you can download and Kindle because you can download it because otherwise it just takes up a ton of room in my
Right.
house. I'm
Right.
actually buying books a second time now just on Kindle so I can get rid of it because I have a hard time letting go of books. So now I can get rid of a book.
Right.
I'm like, I need space in my house. Let's pay more so I can get rid
Right.
of something.
It's true. The same thing with movies, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of movies, store them. So I met with Curtis McCoy, who has written 3 books.
Okay.
His most recent book is doing quite well. He's already sold over 1,000 copies in his first month. So
Okay.
I've known him for years, but he also has a great story, and you have to read his book. He went through some near-death stuff, probably worse than mine if you ask me, but in the time we actually were both going through it about the same time. He recovered. He had brain cancer, so
Oh, geez.
and it took away his ability to walk, talk, eat,
Wow.
all that. So his story is phenomenal, but he's more of a motivational speaker type. And you know, when I meet people like that, I just like bow down to them. Like, you are amazing that you can just do that, you
Yeah.
know? But when I actually sat down and talked with him and stuff, he gave me a lot of ins and outs on how to handle Facebook. He's got 270,000 people on his Facebook group. And I'm like, dude, Facebook's outdated. You know, it's Instagram now. But you can't achieve the same success on Instagram as quickly. So 270,000 on Facebook, that would be legit for any
Yeah.
one of us and for this group as well. But
Yeah.
but there's a lot of that involved too. But he gave me a lot of ins and outs on questions I should be asking book launchers too.
Okay.
So that was helpful. But you know what? It all boils down to a great cover, and that's what we were talking about. How so all those covers that I threw back, I also threw back some pictures, ideas that we should go with, and so they say not to put your own face on it unless you're a famous person.
Okay.
And for me, the picture I had with the car standing in front of it, I'm way far back, so to me it wasn't like my face, it was an image of, or a likeness of. But it's in black and white with red lettering, and to me it just popped, and we went with that. And now I'm getting some feedback from some loved ones that are like, yeah, it's not cool, you should do the illustrated. So you can't ever make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm cut out for this game, we'll see, because all the, you know,
Yeah.
because people are going to hate the book too. People are going to like it, people are going to hate it. You got to have thick skin to be able to take that personal judgment, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking now, because we were talking about this before we started recording, about, you know, whether it was a good idea to put your face on it. And there's a book out there, and I haven't read it yet, but I've heard good things about it. It's called Can't Hurt Me. And I don't remember the premise of the book, but the guy is pictured on the front in his military uniform, and it's him.
Okay.
And he was not known beforehand.
Sure.
But now I couldn't tell you his name because I haven't actually read the book. But I remember the book cover.
Yep.
And people have recommended it. So I think the quality of the book, you need to have something grabbing
Right.
you. But nobody knows who that guy is. And honestly, I don't remember his face.
Right. It's the likeness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what I was thinking, is it doesn't matter who's on the book, it's the picture of success that I was going for. And that meant more than the illustrated guy. So this is the crazy part, okay? Well, this is the day and age we live in. The one that I liked had a picture of an orange dude on it, climbing up a little hill with a little tiny rope.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude's
That's
orange.
basic.
It looks like a Muppet, you know?
Yeah.
So, but the more I thought about it, it was politically correct to have an orange guy on there. Because then they sent me 3 other copies with a black guy, a white guy, and a brown guy.
I don't know. The orange one kind of looks like Trump.
Well, yeah. So, Muppet. so anyways, I ended up going with the brown guy because I was worried about being called a racist over having a black guy on there or a white guy on there.
Yeah.
So I just kind of went with the middle guy. You know, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I figured it was safest as a white guy writing a book. I was like, I probably shouldn't put a white guy on there. I don't.
Right.
But then you don't put a black guy on there because I just didn't know the times we're in. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know where we're at. And
Let's make him green, and we'll just.
that might have been the right idea, a green guy. But we scrapped that whole book idea, cover idea anyway. So
Yeah, so I haven't seen it, but just your description of it sounds like the basic graph that you always see of somebody like climbing a ladder
Yeah.
of success or climbing a mountain. Like,
it's basic.
it's basic.
And the truth is the book is not about making money. Any good entrepreneur doesn't do it because they want to make money. They do it because they love what they do. And making money is just the byproduct of having fun with it.
So, I mean, I know a little bit about the book, but tell people what the book is all about.
Yeah, so you'll have to read it. No, I'm just kidding. So it is a story about my story about going from homeless to today where I'm successful, have had some success. And mostly that success is in having people, family, friends. My children are all raised and doing great. And of course, you know, the byproduct is there, but I don't talk about that. That's not my riches. So it's called Ditches to Riches. And it starts off literally me in a ditch when I had a really bad car accident and should have died and didn't. And it takes you all the way to today where, you know, I'm living good and
Okay.
people are around me and we do stuff like this and and these are the riches.
Just having fun.
Right. And actually I use 10 values that a friend of mine / mentor helped me come up with. And in the book you can get his information, but really it's those 10 values they called the Worley Way. I raised my family, I ran our businesses, and I run my life with those 10 values, and I share those with the audience.
Okay.
And how to use them.
Cool. Now, we talked about cover design, editing, the whole process like that. You mentioned it briefly that you're doing a book army.
Yeah. So,
Can you tell people what that all is and what that's all about?
yeah, so it's a cool concept because, so in the book I talk about having sons and daughters of ditches. So in the first chapter, it's basically I'm calling out my audience and I'm saying anybody that's has had adversity in their life, anybody that's gone through something terrible, and let's define adversity real quick. Anything that pauses or stops or changes the direction of your life is considered adversity. Okay. So, you know, if your path has changed and maybe something, even if it's something minor, there's, I don't want to call it PTSD, but it is kind of like that where you have some issues to deal with. And we just pile those up over the years. So mine made me end up in a ditch to die, and others aren't so dramatic, but we all have them. And so if you've ever had those, I welcome people to be a son of a ditch. That's the name of the Son of a Ditch. That's the name of the book army. I'm trying to coin the phrase. It's going to be the name of the podcast, all that. Okay. Basically, it's a group of us that have been through some shit. Okay. And we're trying to just stay on a good path. And the book army is specifically is a pre-sale army. You get to get the book before anybody else does. You read it, you buy, read, review, and you get a great discount on it. And hopefully I'll be able, if I see you, I can sign your book. I don't know if that's, I don't know how you do that. Yeah, I don't know how you do that on Kindle. I'm gonna figure out a way though. Maybe there's a digital way you can
Yeah.
send your autograph.
So with the Book Army, because I know that other people that have launched books, and to varying degrees, they offer some sort of special
Yeah.
to their initial group, like, hey, come see me talk at this event for free or something
Right.
like that. Are you going to do anything like that? Have any plans for that? Are you still kind of figuring that out, or?
Yeah, so we're a month away still from that. I actually have conversations this week with book launchers to get those kind of things ironed out. It probably still won't be. Probably a week before we launch it, we'll have an idea of what we're going to do.
Okay.
There are specific things that you will get aside from just the pre-sale. You
Okay.
get a discount, I'm sure. A discount code will be applied. Now you can go to my group page called Sons of Ditches, Ron's Book Army, and on there I will put that code so that everybody can grab it and link over and
Okay.
get the discount. I'm not going to sell them very expensive through that. That's not the point.
Yeah, that's not where you're not going to make money selling to your Book Army.
Right. No, not at all. So next to nothing, probably just pay for what it cost me to do it. And I'm just trying to get the book out there and get some feedback before it actually launches.
Yeah. Now, so I've been doing a lot of research on this. If anybody's out there and hasn't joined Ron's Books Army, please do.
Yeah.
Have they? I know there's kind of two different platforms that they really like to have reviews on. First is Amazon. Mm-hmm. Other one is Goodreads. Have you heard about them talk about Goodreads?
Yep.
Okay. You want to tell people what that is? Because I barely knew about it.
I barely know what it is
Yeah.
myself, but it is just another avenue to grab the book. And I think you have to download parts of the book for free in order to
Yeah.
be on there.
So my understanding of Goodreads, because it was linked to my Kindle, is how I first heard about
Okay.
it. Then I started doing research on it when I started writing my book, and it's what Amazon refers to for reviews when Amazon doesn't have enough reviews for
Ah.
a book. So they'll, if you're trying to boost your Amazon rankings, you can publish elsewhere. So like I'm planning on doing an Amazon publishing launch, but if you publish someplace else and then sell through Amazon, you can get the reviews done on Goodreads, and then Amazon will filter those. And Amazon actually ranks Goodreads reviews higher than a lot of other review websites.
Really?
Yeah, I guess the people that leave Goodreads reviews are just
They're readers.
committed.
Yeah.
They're committed.
They're readers. So they're not audiobook people.
I don't know if it does audiobook or not, but I just know that that's it's like the place for
Yeah.
reviews. So
So are you a good audiobook reader? Would you be able to be my actor for the book?
no. No. I talk too slow.
And I can't read well enough. So
I'm dyslexic and I talk too slow. I can't do it.
So here's some free advice that I had to pay for. Something I didn't know about. So you have your book army, which you'll get one and put it together before your book launches, but also an influencer list.
Okay.
Influencers, you think like Instagram, Facebook, all that, they very well could be, but they literally told me the top 15 people in the world that I want to read my book. And she said, don't do Oprah. Everybody does Oprah and Oprah doesn't do that. And so, but that made me think, so like mine's Vanilla Ice,
Okay.
a few of the Shark Tank people and people like that. And then some locals too. Like I'm going to talk to a couple of radio stations. Willie B is on my list because I kind of know him, used to know him with the Max Muscle stuff. It's been years since I've talked to him, but that would be somebody that is of some value because if they talk about it, they will get some readers.
Yeah.
So, and they don't necessarily always read the book.
I've been coming to know that as a lot of these people
Yeah.
interview people about books and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing a podcast a week. They don't have time to read a
No.
book.
No, they get the, and a lot of them you send, so you get an endorsement from them. You send, here's a list of all the things you could say about me. Pick one if you're cool with this.
Yeah.
they sign off and okay, we want that one, and then you put that on. Yeah, it's pretty, I didn't like that, but
Yeah.
I'll do it.
So, well, I mean, once you get this launched and everything, what would you define as a success for the book?
I would like to sell 1,000 books in the first month. That would be Curtis's.
That's pretty ambitious.
That's ambitious.
I
Yeah.
would say 1,000 in a year is pretty good.
So that's the thing. You and I talked about that. That 1,000 books is under 1,000 is average for a book.
You're right.
That's not what I'm hearing from most people that are successful.
Well,
So my book coach sold 40,000 of his
okay.
over 3 years. I think 2.5, 3 years.
Okay.
I'd like to think that if you work hard enough and get that thing out there and do enough speaking engagements and signings and stuff, that you just keep going and going and going. If your book is successful enough, think about Think and Grow Rich, that book. Over its lifetime, it's made millions upon millions of dollars. And the guy's dead, and his family.
It stopped making money. So don't pay for that book if you have the opportunity. Don't pay for Think and Grow Rich because you can download it for free.
What?
Because it's public domain since he died.
Oh.
So the ones that are paid for are just literally people are repackaging it and selling it.
The publisher is.
Publishers are just repackaging and selling it and occasionally making changes and updating certain things in order to provide value and sell it.
They really should update that book there's a lot of racist stuff in there.
I don't know. Honestly, like I get the gist of it. I've
Yeah.
listened to it on audiobook, but the writing is so, for me, it's kind of archaic.
Very.
It's just,
Very.
it's hard to listen.
It's offensive almost.
Yeah.
There's some parts in there. I was standing on the ladder listening to the book, and I would just stop and go, "What did he just say?"
Yeah.
Like at
audio,
the time.
You're paying for the voice.
Yeah, so you have to hire an actor to do that.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself. Curtis McCoy told me he did his himself. You know, that's a possibility. I even have a place I could do that and the gear to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you know, do you do 100%? Do you just do it good enough, or do you do it right? Get the actor, do it right. There's a couple guys that do it themselves, audiobooks. Gosh, I can't remember his name. I've been listening to his book. He's from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And he was funny at first because it's his voice and it's funny, but then after a while it kind of drains out. Like his voice is, you know.
Well, it's old news to them.
Yeah.
You know, they're not reading it fresh. They don't.
Right. They're just kind of like.
I wrote this. Now I've edited it. I've been working on
Right.
this book for 6 years, and now I have to read it one more time.
Right. So back to the success of any one book. I think it would. I think over a few years' time, and hopefully I'll write another one in between if this is successful. I've already started a second one that has nothing to do with business. It's just a fiction book.
Okay.
So anyways, if you can get that one to be successful, if you look on Amazon, you can see how much money those things are making, and they're actually making great money, good money, sales anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know what their margins are, but you know, you're selling a book for $6 on Amazon. It isn't costing you $6 to sell it or to put it on there. It's digital, so they're making good margins.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm out of questions.
Are you?
Anything else you want to share about your book before we let
I got nothing, man. Go to at Ron L. Worley. Ron L. Worley.
Not Ronald.
Not Ronald.
L.
Ron L. Worley on Facebook. That's my author page. Or if you want to go to the Jobless Legion, we'll punch it in there too.
Yep.
And also at Sons of Ditches, be in the book army.
All right.
And I can't wait to hear about yours. We get a little closer.
We're getting there.
Okay.
It's coming, but my next step is to Rebecca's going to read one chapter in it because she knows more about that topic than I do. She's going to give me some feedback, and once she's done with that, off to the editor it goes.
She's gonna butcher it.
Oh man. Well, she already. So Ashley's already read it. Rebecca's read a few chapters out of it. She just hasn't had time to read it all the way through.
Yeah.
So she's read a few chapters out of it, and she's like, you repeat yourself like 3 times in this paragraph. I'm like, nope.
So that's a content editor's job. So
Yeah.
good. When you go to the editor, they'll chop that out.
Yeah, and so Ashla kind of did that, but I mean, Ashla's 14.
Yeah.
So I was more wanting her to look at things and say, Dad, I don't like. What are you trying to say here?
Right.
You
Because
know,
I'm the audience.
Yeah.
She's the audience.
She's part of a big part of the target market. So or come back to me and say, I don't understand this, explain this more, or any questions she came up with. So if it was about banks, she's like, well, you talked about savings accounts, about this, and this in savings accounts, but you don't talk about it in checking accounts. So what are they? So things like that.
So when are we going to tell everybody what your book's about?
I think we've mentioned it once before.
We have.
But my book is called What I Want My Daughter to Know About Money, and it's a mix of stories and there's a lot of how-to, which I know gets dry, but it's mixed with a lot of my stories and experience with discovering a lot of these things that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
People,
With their kids.
with anybody.
Yeah.
It's things like a 401k. Well, what's a 401k?
Yeah.
And how do you get a 401k?
Sure.
It's a long distance to run if you're used to 5Ks. So, but anyway, it's just things like that, and just trying to break down the barriers and make it a family conversation, because most families do not talk about money.
Yeah.
Most families don't have money.
Right.
There's,
It's true.
I think there's a correlation there.
Right. So maybe talk about it a little bit.
So that's
So who's going to read the book? Is it the parents or the kids?
So it's designed for both.
Okay.
It's probably going to be the parents that read it
First.
Yeah. So while the conversations that it's meant to inspire are for, obviously it's written for the adult to say, okay, but it's written, I believe, at a low enough level that you can just take it and talk to your kid about this matter.
Okay.
It's also written for the young adult, and it spans a lifetime, really. So it starts with, the mentality of being successful is my first chapter, and then it goes, there's getting a job, getting a car, going to college, having kids, getting married,
Right.
planning for your retirement. So it spans a lifetime. So literally you can pick it up and just kind of read a chapter every few years as you progress
Where you're
through
at.
your life.
Yeah.
But I foresee the target market being somebody who's had a few jobs, and it may be in college, maybe not, and they're at that point in their life where they're trying to figure things out and they just don't know the rules of
Yeah.
money. When I was in my early 20s, I didn't know the rules of money. I didn't know how different bank accounts worked. So we'll get there.
Assuming we'll still be capitalists. When it's,
Assuming the country is still capitalist in
Yeah.
a few years. But I did learn, I have to share this with you off camera, but I learned a really interesting trick on how to avoid taxes. So.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Off camera for sure.
I got to experiment with it.
Because
So-
the mint's closed, so it can't be cash under the table anymore.
No, Mint is closed. Did you hear Walmart? Was it Walmart or Kroger? I think it's Kroger is not giving change back anymore.
Yep. A lot of places are doing that now.
That's
I'm a cash business, so I don't know how this is going to work. I'm getting a lot more credit cards right now, actually.
okay.
But anyways, that's probably an episode.
Venmo, download that.
Yeah.
I mean,
all
we're
that.
going to be forced to at this point.
Track our stuff.
Yeah.
There's a book. There's a book on that.
Yeah. All right, we need to wrap it up.
All right.
I think we're well past 20 minutes.
Thanks, guys. He'll edit. We'll be okay.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Join us on Facebook at The Jobless Legion, or subscribe to our YouTube channel and like, comment, and share.
So that we can get the message out to aspiring entrepreneurs just like you.
Thank you.